Hey hitchhikers, welcome back to another episode of Bag Lady Unloaded. This is the second part of a two-part video. If you haven't seen the first, please make sure to check it out. It will be in the description box below. And thanks for watching. And it was the longest 4 days of my life. The kids were crying. It was a very disgusting place, and it was rock bottom. I thought that I had definitely been at rock bottom before this, but this was an all-time low for me because I never had to stay in a shelter before. It never come to the point where I just didn't have a place to go. And let me just say that it wasn't just about the fact that the shelter was obviously dirty and there were people there that were obviously down on their luck. It was an energy there that felt like it wanted to swallow you. There was an energy there that was all-consuming and felt as if it was draining you of any hope. There was a woman that was checking us in. She was like laughing at us. And it made my oldest son, he was very uncomfortable. He said to me afterward, it felt like she was better than us. Which made me even more sad and depressed because I couldn't do anything about it. The rest of the people that worked there may not have been like laughing at us as she was, but they were definitely really mean and like shouting and cursing at people and trying to keep order in what felt like hell. It was the strangest, weirdest experience. It really felt like hell on earth. The vibrations were so low and just it was just the worst experience that I feel like I've ever had. As you can imagine, I'm like trying to like meditate and stay sane, reading a book to the kids at night. We got up and we, left to walk around Pershing Square, and we were at the park over there, and the kids are playing, and somebody has to go to the bathroom, and we go to the porta potty, which is all that they had, and it was friggin' disgusting. And I thought like, ew, I'm just gonna wait until I get home. But then I remembered that home for that night was going to be the shelter. And I had a panic attack. Didn't know what it was. I started to feel nauseous. My head was hurting. My heart was like pounding out of my chest. And I just had this feeling that I was gonna die. I sit down on the concrete and just breathe for a little while. So after the breaths, it kind of goes away and I realized it was a panic attack. On that third night, I was contemplating going home to Georgia and just giving up this dream of making a home of California so I can get to a place of working on my poetry and my writing, which is really what I wanted to do. And something wouldn't let me go. When I first had the idea of moving to California, it was for very selfish reasons. I want to live a life of my dreams. I want to be more than this. I think I'm more worthy than the position that I'm in. Laying on the floor of that shelter, I had to reevaluate my reasons for being in California. And as I looked at my kids, I realized they were the reason I was fighting so hard. They were the reason that I wanted to be better than what I was. I decided right then and there that if I was going to help them live a life better than the life of poverty that I've always known, I had to do something different. I had to do something that I had never done to get something that I never had. And I know that's cliche, but it's the truth. I realized that I needed to be a living example for my kids. That it wasn't enough to just say, hey, when you grow up, follow your dreams. And when you have visions and you have convictions and goals, go after them no matter what anybody says. It's not enough to say that. I had to show them, because if they were my children, they were going to be like me, which means that they will probably be people pleasers, which means that they will probably do what they saw and ignore the things that people said. I had to heal myself in order to heal them. If not, I was going to lead them right into a lifetime of poverty and unhappiness. Instead, I chose to be a mom that was going to show them what they needed to do to get to a different reality. I decided to stay. 4th day, got up and I filled out a couple of applications for work and a couple of applications for poetry. I went and pawned my computer, and I took the money that I got from pawning my computer, which wasn't very much, as you can imagine, and I used it to go back to Rolling Heights and pay for a couple nights in a hotel. There were these sweet ladies at the Walgreens or the Rite Aid by the hotel that we used to live in. And they were like, oh, there's this program where they can pay for your hotel if you're homeless. And I'm like, really? They would do that? They, you know. And so she finds a phone number, and she gives me the phone number and puts me in contact with someone who can help. And I find this program, and the program begins to pay for the hotel. I use that opportunity to find a job. I was looking for a job as a debt collector, but I ended up finding a job with insurance. I've been working in insurance for about 3 years. I'm definitely making enough money to support myself and my kids, and we have our own apartment. Our lives are only getting better. I said all of that to say, people will always try and tell you what to do with your life, especially when kids are involved. And like I said in the beginning, yes, there is love in someone wanting to give you advice on how to be a better mom, right? They are thinking about the kids, and they assume that you aren't putting the kids first. So you will have tons of people when you say, hey, I want to move over here. Hey, I have this dream, or I have that goal. Hey, I have this on my vision board, and I really want to put some real time and energy into this. And they're going to tell you not to do it because you're a mom. Well, what I am here to say to you is, follow your dreams. Yes, even as a mom, especially as a mom, because you know what your kids need. And what my kids needed for me was to grow up. And California smacks me in my ass. But there's an old saying that a tree can't grow to heaven if the roots don't reach to hell. So I realized that all of the adversity that I went through here in California, being laid off from a job, and I had never been laid off from a job before. I never even been fired from a job, or ending up in a shelter, and I had never been in a shelter before. All of that forced me to grow up and reevaluate why I was even here in the first place. And once I knew my reason, I was willing to do anything to get myself to the point where I was actively showing my children how to take life by the reins, how not to settle, how to go for the bigger dream, how to do the thing that seems impossible. My life is way better, and I am way more stable now than I was when I was in Georgia. And I am way happier now than I was when I was in Georgia. I am still making goals and moving towards goals. And another thing that chasing my dreams gave me was strength. Because once I got a home, once I got a stable job, I sat down and I looked at myself and said, if I can do this, if I can move 2,000 miles away from anybody I have ever known, without a job, without a place to stay, without a friend to call if something goes wrong, if I can do that with 3 kids on my back and make it work, then I can do anything. And I needed to find that strength for this next stage in my life. Stay tuned. So, in conclusion, when you are strong and courageous enough to love yourself and put yourself first, magic happens. Show your kids how to put themselves first. And not just how to put themselves first, but how to be fearless. And that's what I'm raising. 3 fearless babies who aren't really babies anymore. So that's all the time we have for today, guys. Thanks so much if you're still here. If you're new to the channel, please make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Stay a while. I love you. And all my OGs, see you next time.